Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is the final round here of the NXTGP Mazda MX5 Cup Winter Series as we arrive for the final round of the championship. 3 races are awaiting us here at the Circuito de Navarra, and what a fabulous location to be having it here. My name is Adam Reed. I'll be the solo commentator for tonight's race. We get set for what will be an epic final round of MX5 Cup Series racing. These cars are pretty nimble, so it will definitely provide for some superb racing. So really looking forward to that. You see the cars just out there doing their final little bits of preparation. And then we'll see how these all kind of go about there. You see their practice up in the top left of your display screen. And you see their 20 drivers will take to the grid. They're just heading over the line, trying to get some practice laps in for the moment. And yeah, we'll be seeing a couple of drivers out there. There is Oliver Altov, of course, the owner of NXTGP, so one of our main admins in here. So he will be looking for some fantastic results. So of course the championship is very much wide open. There's still plenty of opportunities to go and win the thing. A lot of drivers out there still within an opportunity. I'm sure we'll get onto that in just a moment. But yeah, a look around the Navarra circuit makes for some absolutely superb racing. It looks like we're going to be on the long layout for this one. So 2.6 miles or 4.3 kilometers, and already we're seeing a bit of argy-bargy there, a little bit of bumper-to-bumper racing. They start to practice their slipstreaming for the racing. A lot of slipstreaming. We'll get onto that just a moment. There is Sandor here in the what seems to be the Rust-eze car, the Lightning McQueen liveried 95, but of course his racing number here is number 8, but you know, we might just try and pass that off as a 95. Oh, actually we won't, because it's got a massive Rust-eze sticker where the number 95 would normally be on the famous on our famous little NASCAR race car. That was born all the way back in 2006. So really looking forward to seeing how this all kind of works out. Going back to the slipstream, just having a look at the circuit map here, we do have a good amount on here. I believe 17 corners on this racetrack. Pretty high temperatures as well. So we're going to be looking out for some pretty hot temperatures. So I think tyres are definitely going to be something to keep into consideration as we now look to finalize our practice times. You're just seeing there the results on the left-hand side. And I believe there is Jamie Tecole in his, well, there seems to be, is there a face on that livery? There seems to be a face. So I wonder if that Jamie himself, or that might be a friend of his, or yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't quite recognize it from here, but hopefully I'll maybe get a notification at some point telling me you know, who this is. Jamie there just heading over the line. It looks to be about 5.5 seconds being the kind of the margins there between the entire field spread, all 20 cars. So there's a really nice field spread. I'm getting a notification that's actually Yuri on the car. So that's I believe he's sitting there down in 11th. So there you go. I'm sure some really close friends here in the NXTGP machine. So we'll just have to kind of see how this all works out. Yeah, I think the slipstream on this circuit is going to be mighty interesting. There's going to be so much to kind of take into consideration. We've had some really, really fantastic racing all throughout the season. We started off the season at VIR, a really competitive circuit as well. And all the twists and turns about that one heading over in America. Then we head into our European leg, where we went to Italy for Monza. That would have been absolute slipstream galore with the amount of long straights there is. That would have been absolute gold racing. I'm sure that's going to be one to keep an eye, one to look for, and potentially one to see potentially as we go forward in our rounds. And then we headed to the very, very long 7-kilometer Spa-Francorchamps. So already a couple of Formula One circuits they headed to, but then going to the absolute classic Belgian circuit of Zolder, and then heading to kind of the home of NXTGP at Zandvoort. And now we're here in Spain for Navarra. I'm really looking forward to seeing how all these drivers really get along here. As I said, the margin 5.5 seconds, but look at the top end of the field. The top five separated by just just over 7.5 tenths of a second. That's not something to not look into. That's something to keep into consideration. I think for qualifying, it's going to be such a very interesting set of ways it goes. This is Liam Mulder having a bit of a spin there in his all blue Mazda MX5. Tows himself back to the pit lane. So already having a few issues, and then we see there Ten Holt, who's had a bit of a date with the barrier there. I think Valentine's Day was a couple days ago, so you kind of miss it there. It's Luke de Vingarden, getting very, very sideways, and he's already getting involved in the battles in practice. So I think it is good that these drivers are getting involved in these tough kind of battles in these early stages, because they're needing to practice. You need to think about being side by side. You need to know kind of the space you're going to have between drivers. Who's going to be more pushy? Who's going to be more conservative in these early stages? Remember, we have 3 races to go ahead on this one. So I'll be really intrigued to see who gets the best out of them as well. As I say, Yuri Vasipin, of course, down there, very much an opportunity to take the title here. And right now, he sits 1.8 seconds behind the rest, or the top leader of Hiren. And now we see in P6 there, Corelson. And now he's just heading his way around the lead of the circuit. He's currently in P6, so a little bit off here in practice. But of course, practice is all about dialing into the circuit. Really, that's really all you can do for the moment in time. And we'll see what we can get in just a moment. There is Luc van Wijngaarden having his little kind of dabble with a couple of cars there. There is Jean Howry as well in his all white, half black level. So as someone who's covering this series for the first time, it's good to kind of get around with who's got similar liveries, who's got this, who's got that. So just really kind of working away and just seeing what everyone's attitude on this track here. I wonder if it is going to be kind of a fan favourite, or a driver's favourite, I should say, or if it's going to be one of those where they just maybe dislike it a little bit. I've seen a lot of these being used for Formula V racing, in fact. So Navarra very much gets used in the sim racing world for quite kind of low-level horsepower racing, like Formula Vs, like Mazda's MX5, as Olaf Oltov is heading out there as well. Dan is 16th, 3 seconds off the pace, but I think that will be changing in qualifying. And when we get into kind of towing slipstream business here, there can definitely be some form of fantastic racing. So, once the slipstream is engaged, once everyone has now got up to grips with the circuit as a whole, I definitely can see some fantastic action, and there's going to be some high it's going to be some definite high stakes racing. So really intrigued to see how that's all going to work out. Someone's had a spin there on the exit of a corner. No, we're going to get a replay here. It's in fact Jamie Tercoan. In fact, he's just he's had a trip through the grass there. It seems like, I think, to maybe get out of the way of all of these drivers, because there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them just going around on this practice lap. It's still drivers just maybe making their final adjustments, because we don't have long left in this practice session. So just kind of relax here for a little bit and enjoy all of these Mazda MX5s heading around the circuit. And for sure, it's going to be one of those absolutely fantastic events. I'm really excited to get onto this. Just having a look at the track map, as I said, about 17 corners on this race at Grade 2, and is recently taken over by the British company MSV, Motorsport Vision, who organises a lot of the racing in the UK. So they also own a lot of circuits like your Snetterton, your Brands Hatch, your Donington Park, Oulton Park, all those circuits owned by MSV, owned by Jonathan Palmer. You may hear that name a lot if you're in the UK racing scene. Jonathan Palmer, once an ex-Formula One driver, and his son, well, he went on to race in Formula One with a very similar little success, that being Jolyon Palmer, 2016 to 2017 Renault Formula One driver. We're just now having a look there at Yuri, the Swithfin, and he is at the moment just heading around to the circuit, just trying to get his eye in on these last few moments. He currently sits second in the championship, where you kind of discard all your points. At 613 he ends up on. So with Kenya Deruchen not here, it doesn't seem like, in fact, I lied, Kenya Deruchen is here in 10th place, and there he is in his number 10, so 10th place for the number 10 car. And how is he going to do? They're very similar pace here, but again, it's going to be the practice qualifying that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye out for. That's when we're going to be seeing the true pace, I think, of everyone. So yeah, your main run here for Navarra is going to be up into this section. So they're going through 1, a little bit tighter in towards 2. You can make a move in towards 3, but you're going to be wanting to be alongside by 2, because if you're not alongside by 2, you're going to have to really just lift off the throttle and just back out of the move, I think, unless there's, it's going to be one of those really touch and go ones, very touchy in that scenario. Just having a look around the lap, I think if you can get a good exit off turn 7 onto the back straight right at the top of the circuit, you might get a really good run for turn, I believe that's turn 9. So straight between 8 and 9. Heavy braking, and then it's all about kind of the follow through from 11 through 12, 13. And then on towards what appears to be turn 15. That's another big breaking point where you can potentially get something done there. And then you go on towards the last 2 corners, one of them just being a quick kink to the left, and then that final corner to the right. So that will be a big old opportunity there for a lot of classic racing. So really looking forward to seeing how this all kind of works out in this part. You can see a whole cackle of cars there right at the back stretch, and this is the part I was talking about. Just having a look, let me just I've got an image there on my other kind of computer. Yeah, so we're looking at turn 9 here of the circuit, right at the back end of the circuit. You see the main pit building there in the foreground. So they're kind of giving you a reference of where we are on the circuit. We're going towards 11. That's a very, very tight tight left-hander. Really just following all the way through. So that is going to be some yeah, really tin-top stuff. And oh, that's going to be Sunder here. Oh, and big hit there for the 34 as well. That's going to be Janssen in 13th. Oh dear, two unhappy drivers there, and hopefully they are going to. Yeah, hopefully they'll get transported back to the pits. I'm hoping that was more of a friendly, jokey Ram than you know, I hate you, Ram. Yeah, you know, oh dear, another car just going absolutely sideways, and there you can see a bit of bum drafting as well. Yeah, you get bum drafting in MX5 racing, so be prepared for that throughout this one, especially towards this section. So yeah, whatever Oliver Althoff is doing, you know, just remember that this could be yeah, you won't see the last of that. He's just down there pushing Marco Kirkman at this moment in time there in P number 9. And they'll just carry this all the way through, but we're about to approach what is going to be our final minute of this practice session. And I believe we've got yet another driver joining us, and it does seem to be Ramizma. The number 28, so I wonder if he's kind of a new driver, because I saw 20 when I first joined the lobby, and now we're up to potentially 21 if they can set a lap time on the board. Marco Kirkman has gone round. He's managed to put himself back into the pit lane. So as I say, these practice laps are still just trying to really take you through with a pinch of salt until we get into that qualifying session. You know, I've seen a lot of sandbagging in my iRacing in my time commentating on iRacing, so we'll have to see how this all works out. Marco Kirkman just kind of crabbing his way back to the pits, but yeah, championship is still very much on the line. I'll try and see if I can work out a champion at the end of all of this, especially with kind of you know, the high scoring positions for wins. There's also been some really interesting discard points, so kind of very similar to what you get in Spanish F4, which the circuit actually hosts in real life, where you basically have to, for certain rounds, you have to kind of give up points and declare that you're not going to be scoring points for that round, and whatever result you get, you know, you can you'll have to kind of hand that over. But at this moment in time there, we're just having a look at some of the statistics as our practice has come to an end, and we now move on to the qualifying session here at Navarra. A swarm of bees or a swarm of MX5 now leave the pits, all in unison. 15 minutes to get a lap time in, so already it is very close contentions here, and I think there's maybe potentially a little bit of panic about who wants to go out first, but I wonder if there's going to be a couple of games being played around here, because of course you're going to need that slipstream, you're going to be needing the tow, you're going to need a fast driver in front of you, and also not being held up in these early stages of qualifying. So they'll head down the hill and on towards turn number 5. You see there already a couple of moves being made. That's just to try and find track space. It's going to be oh so important during this qualifying session, and especially as a driver, you're really just looking for that piece of space. You're really looking around you, looking in your mirrors, looking at kind of your virtual mirror in iRacing to see, you know, who's behind you, who is the ones that are going to be looking at attacking the circuits, who are the ones that are going to be looking pretty fast here. And it's going to be a huge question mark. I think it's kind of everyone here. So kind of ignore the purple sectors that are happening here. Who is this going around? That is the number 13 who has just gone around. That is Glent, unfortunately. So Jörg Glent just unfortunately having a bit of a spin on his kind of on his outlap here. But yeah, it looks like we've had somebody cross the line. That looks to be Huis crossing the line. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. Ooh, that's another spin there for Jamie. As he reverses off the racetrack, and you can see the spin there with Yuri on the side. So Yuri getting the full exposure there from the cameras being shown in iRacing. And the kind of the broadcast that is being given to us. These are some fantastic replays. Especially after covering an Assetto Corsa competizione race last night, I have missed having kind of this replay system that kind of shows us what's just happened. It's always done in fine fashion as well by everyone here at NXTGP. So the qualifying session will continue to tick down. 15 minutes of this qualifying session. So as a driver, this qualifying session can go very, very quickly. You're going to be looking at, you're going to be looking at all kind of the valuables and all the numbers to make sure that you're in the right place. But the driving is really where you're going to be trying to focus on. It's just nailing every single part of the lap from that kind of entry into the first corner all the way to the exit of the last. You're going to be full focus. There's not going to be really any time to relax. The only time you're really going to be able to quote unquote relax is going to be probably down that straight towards turn number 9. Every time apart from that in the main straight, you are just going to be at full focus. So you head now round in towards turn number 2 and in towards 3 for one of our drivers. We now latch on here with Thies van Huys as he heads his way now in towards the next right-hander through the final corner, through the next couple of corners. I believe that is going to be turn number 12 and towards this flick through that final corner of 16 and then on towards 17. Getting all of the acceleration down. He'll be at full throttle now in his Mazda MX5. In the first lap time, it will be seemingly going to be a 1 minute. That's going to be a positive. If he gets into the 1 minute, it's a 1 minute. I think that's a 57.6 there for Thies van Huys. So positive stuff there from the Dutchman. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be topped there by Molders, but it is going to be there topped by Yuri there with 157.0. And then we've got Luke van Wijngaarden just going up to P3 there. And they all rotate round turn 3 on this Navarra circuit. Some very good lap times, and I told you that those drivers in the mid-pack were just saving and biding their time in the early stages. They've now come out with all guns blazing, and they're now looking at putting in some fantastic results. So even in these early stages, the tyres are probably still a little bit cold there, but trust me, after a lap or two, they're going to really start to feel the strain on their race cars. So we now look here with Olaf Oltov, brother of Oliver, and he's now going to go over the line, and he's going to go up to P9. So 10 cars have already put in a lap time. Look at it's a solid lap time there from Yuri as he now heads his way around the field. He's got a purple sector there. I believe in iRacing it is split up into 4 sectors rather than the usual 3. So now you're going to have to really kind of work out everything. Yeah, it is split into 4. You're just seeing there with Leon Mulder in his number 14 Mazda MX5 rotating his way. And now we're catching on to Yuri Vasivan heading on towards these last couple of corners. He's in a little bit of traffic, but it's positive traffic because he's getting a bit of a toe here off the car in front of him. That's exactly what he needs, but he is a little bit slow in that 3rd sector, but it looks like Thies van Huys has managed to make it up in the 3rd, as has that number 2 car of Steen. Heading over the line, he'll look to improve that lap time. So we've also had another improvement just going up into 5th there. I'll get a kind of a confirmation of that being Olaf Oltov, and that's going to be a spinner. That's going to be Yuri Vasivan. Very unfortunate there for the 18, but that's this kind of thing you've got to avoid during this qualifying session. A really good lap time there from Hervler as he now heads his way up to P number 2 there, and he's just looking at a very, very slim margin of, I believe, 47 thousandths of a second. And of course, he's gone spinning off the back of turn 3. So yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate time there for him. But yeah, we've already ticked down to a very, very solid 7 minutes 20 seconds have already passed in this qualifying session. And now you're just seeing all around the circuit there at the beautiful Navarra circuit. Yeah, you're seeing all these cars now just kind of etching their way to kind of getting that better timing there. So it looks to be pretty close so far. The top 9 separated by just under 8.5 tenths of a second, and you see these massive queues. How effective are they going to be? Because it's kind of a bit of a balance, because yes, you can get some good slipstream, but B, they can also provide a bit of a distraction, maybe a bit of a kind of not what you need on track. They can be a little bit frustrating for sure. But we'll see what is happening. A beautiful golf delivery there from Schutert as he heads over the line. How will he do? He's gone green, 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 and he's going to go and jump up to P11, 1.2 seconds behind Yuri Bezivren in P1 there. So really looking to see if he can just work a little bit more, close that gap up here. So yeah, top 10 separated by 1.2 seconds. That's a really positive kind of result there, despite the kind of the field spread we saw during practice session. During the practice session, some drivers still struggling to, I'd say, get a full lap in, and that is completely it's okay, but it does kind of give you a little bit of pressure there. 9 minutes gone through, so that means we've got 6 minutes left of this session, and there now remains some big questions for a couple of them that have not got a lap in there. Janssen, Steen, Martens, Janssen, Dretz, Mulder, and Ramirez. A couple of them going having some black and white cross flags, so that's going to be not ideal for them. I wonder if they're currently sitting in the pits at the minute. A couple more improvements. I think that's Janssen, who has just gone up to P15 very recently as well, but it's still at the moment Bezivren and Hervre and Ruchen as well. And I'm being told that the black flag with the white cross is disqualification. So disqualification there for Janssen and Ramiresma. Looks like that was Ferdinand Mulder heading over the line. And then we've also got Hayen, who's set a purple sector earlier, but of course that's now being covered by another driver. We'll see what Hayen does. He goes up to P3, so he puts himself onto the second row of the grid, and with looks like someone has just gone in behind as well. That's going to be Edwin Steen in his number 2. So of course Steen at this moment in time sitting in a very, very comfortable second row with it seems like with Mr. Ruchen at this moment in time. So really positive stuff, or should I say Hayen, because they've now just improved. So good, vast amount of improvements now, especially going into the latter stage. 4 minutes left to go of this qualifying session. These are the kind of the time where the limits are going to be pushed a little bit too much push there, as Hearn goes off into turn number 3. I think just got a little bit loose over the curbs there at turn number 2. And again, this line is just kind of carrying as well. We've got Oliver. Is that Oliver? One of the Oltovs. I believe that is Olivier Oltov, just kind of carrying everyone here behind him. He's absolutely punching a hole in the air for the rest of these cars, unless there is somebody in front of him. We'll just have a look down at the results there. It is Yuri Zeifert at this moment in time, sitting in a very, very comfortable P1. And you've got Sander Herrera in P2. That's going to be your front row. More carnage happening around this circuit. You can barely avoid it. Ferdinand Mulder going up to P15 there. So he's going to be putting himself on the 8th row of the grid, which is going to be a little bit chaotic in all honesty. You know, it's not somewhere where it is it's going to be ideal to be starting there, but yeah, that now leaves our 22 cars, so we're going to be having 11 rows of cars in this Mazda MX5 Winter Series championship. And for a last round, yeah, that's pretty good, despite with all the entries we've had, over almost 40 entries into the championship. And we've got a move there by the 13 of that's going to be Jordrent, who needs to get a bit of a move on because he is just at the moment just having the lower positions of 15th there, lower echelons, I should say. It looks like we've got the number 833 there of Jean Houtry looking at a green sector, as well as the number 13 there we just mentioned of Jordrent. He's now also going to be looking for a top 10 here. The gap overall between the top 20, 4.4 seconds, so it's closed down 1.1 from his from the practice time. So that really just indicates a little bit of sandbagging, a little bit of you know, just, you know, not wanting to damage the car. Despite this being sim racing, despite this being iRacing, you know, there's still some drivers that kind of just don't want to put their car in the barrier because they know that's going to really cost them a lot of time. Edwin Steen there is on a green sector, so he's looking pretty positive for this moment in time. We'll just have a look and see what Edwin Steen can do. Is he going to potentially put himself onto the front row? He's got Sander Herrera in the pit lane in the minute. Also, that seems to be Kaino Den Rugen in the pits as well, and Oliver Altov. Those three from the top 10 in the pits. I think Chris Stewart was trying to get something going there. I thought he was about to leave the pits. Apparently not. It looks like Edwin Steen is now back into the pits. So is Cass Hanen. That is going to be those top drivers in the pit lane now. 15 seconds remaining before we kind of cut this qualifying session short. Can these drivers get to the line? They're going to be probably one of the last group before the checkered flag flies. Any improvements being made? Yes, there are. Liam Mulder going up to P7 in that number 14. Very positive stuff. And there is Marco Kirkman. And there you go. Qualifying session is now done and dusted here at Navarra. And the dust kind of settles here. But there is your grid. Yuri Verseifren now in P1 ahead of Sander Herrera with Cass Hanen and Edwin Steen, then Kaino van Ruken and Marco Kirkman with Luke van Weingarten and Oliver Altov in P9 there. Looks like Cornelson with Thijs van Huys and Liam Schutert in P12. Now we'll look further down the grid, where we'll find Olaf Altov in P13. Find Jean Hattery in P14. But there is the grid. Heat 1 is about to get underway here for the NXTGP MX5 Winter Cup. So we just wait for the lights to go out at the front of the grid. Yuri Verseifren is now going to be leading the way from pole position. But what can Sander Herrera do? He was very quick in that practice session. But we're going to be having a look at all of these drivers throughout the field. What kind of battles are we going to be seeing as the lights are set? All 5 lights are on. And we are racing at Navarra. Superb start there off the line from Zifren, but there you go, cutting across is Sandahera. Now going to send it down in toward the first couple of corners. Who's going to be making the most of the opportunity? They fan out in towards the opening sequence of corners. Kino and Rukren now jumping over the curbs in towards that next corner. There's contact between the front two, and there you go. Look at that. Oh, Yuri's round. Yuri is round, and that's going to be absolute devastation. He's going to be seeing his own face at the back of the pack, and that's not a sight he wants to see as much. I'm sure he adores his own little face on the side of a race car. That was absolutely devastation. Yeah, I think that was just down to the number 8 there of Sandahera, just kind of lost of the rear going in towards turn number 2. It was too late on the brakes, and then got a smack up the side from another MX5 there. So multiple pieces of damage there, and that's going to be Kino Den Rugen now in a bit of free land here. He's going to be jumping into that free real estate and extending the lead. Is the Dutchman? Can he maybe extend here? We'll have a look at another replay. This is Dent. We're looking at that. Oh, that's a bit of a nasty move there, and that's I think the number 7 he has taken with him as well. That being Dries van Huys. Really unfortunate on that part. Yeah, we'll continue on toward the next sequence of corners. That's going to be Corneliussen looking to tumble down the field. So Noah's been involved in an accident. He's gone spinning around at one of the corners through on the left there. So, oh dear, that's not going to be good whatsoever. So Kino Den Rugen, very, very he's going very well. Dries van Huys, Dent, all getting involved in accidents. It looks like we've got Pinden Holt, who is now lapped down already, despite now going on to lap 2 of this one, in towards the right-hander of this corner. And I think Kino Den Rugen is going to be under a bit of pressure, and there through goes Edwin Steen. Edwin Steen is now through into the race lead, and this is where we're now going to start to be seeing that very, very close Mazda MX5 racing that we've been seeing all season long. Oh no! Oh, that's absolutely just devastation. I think that was Edwin Steen. Edwin Steen, who recently just took the lead moments ago, now finds himself absolutely tumbling down the order. Oh, that's going to be devastation, and really want to just keep an eye out for. Yeah, wow. This is the magic, really, of MX5 Cup racing. It can get a little bit harem squaring at times, and if you're not careful, you can find yourself definitely in a bit of an incident. So, yeah, not ideal whatsoever. Just having a look at it on my second screen, it's just a bit of a squeeze between a couple of cars, and yeah, how unfortunate is that going to be? And I'm sure there'll be a couple of penalties being handed out. So yeah, that's why I'm seeing so many notifications coming out of this group. Is because of these lot just having a bit of a bang about with old MX5 cars. But we continue with the battle for the lead here, because Oliver Altov is now just going onto the back here of Kino Den Rugen. He is going to be a bit of a big threat here is Altov. He's very experienced in these MX5 Cups, and a little bit disappointed he's not running his kind of usual colours that you see on his real life helmet. So maybe make that a reality next season. Olivier turning towards turn number 3. Some good driving there from Altov. Really just trying to get the switch back. He's going to lean himself on the outside, saying, I'm just going to make your entry a little bit more shallow in towards turn number 4 here. You're just seeing there Luc van Wijngaarden is just going to be sitting in the background there. They head their way through 5. That might be a bit of contact. That was a definite scare there for Ruichen. And now on the inside line, Olivier Oltov is going to take the lead here in the Mazda MX5 Cup Race 1 here in this 15-minute race. That is some superb action in towards the right hander now. We'll get that replay. This is Richard Martens. Oh, contact there with another car. That's going to be massively disappointing. So that looks like Dries van Huys, Drent, more contact as well. Ferdinand Mulder and Chris only Joe Dent, in fact, who's the only one out here. And there's a big amount of damage there. Ferdinand Mulder, he's going to go slamming into the Armco barrier, and that's not the way he's going to be wanting to end that one whatsoever. So how will Oltov now look to control this one? At the current championship leader just tries to hold his own, but watch for the main straight, because this is going to be a big opportunity here for Keanu Den Ruygen to try and get back on through for this top 3 battle. And you also have Liam Mulder, who could definitely do something maybe a little bit further down, especially if this kind of battle starts to get a little bit too, maybe not too much, but starts to get too rowdy at the front of the field. So the championship leader with Luke van Wijngaarden. So those two are going to be definitely embrawling in a big old tussle at some stage here. I promise you that's going to be one to keep an eye out for. As here goes Van Ruygen, and he's going to just try and look for a gap here at turn number 3, but Oltov says absolutely no you don't. You're not going to get me that easy. I know what your tricks are like. Because of course these guys have been racing all season long, all 6 rounds these guys have been together for all 18 races. They'll head their way through the next 6 of the corners, and that's going to be Van Wijngaarden just leaning onto the rear bumper there of Den Ruygen. Will Keanu manage to find himself just ahead in the next corner? He will. But yeah, we'll have a look at that second battle with Liam Mulder heading Cass Haynen, Gene Howry as well, because there you can see already Liam Mulder going very, very defensive. He'll pull back to the left hand side, so he's already made one move. Now will Haynen try and send it? Ooh, he almost goes in the back of, in fact, of the number 14, and of course Howry and Marco Kirkman are just going to go side by side here. In fact, those 2 back runners in the right and behind this battle, they're just going to just kind of put a hold to each other's progress, because they wanted to go forward here. That's their whole purpose of this one. They need to go forward rather than go start going backwards. And they were at this moment in time. As I say, at this moment in time, this is going to be just one of those where they need to, think about the bigger picture. And we see Noah Cornelsen. He takes a little bit of contact with another car, unfortunately. I believe that was with Edwin Steen. I just saw them having a flicker on the screen on my right hand side, so which is a little bit of a delay at the minute. Now we have a look at Liam Mulder, who again is on the defensive here. Cass Haynen managing to sneak on through down that main straight, so a lot of slipstream being used there just by the aerodynamics of these cars. And again, it looks like Howry is also trying to get involved in this one. But again, boys, you need to be thinking about the bigger picture. There is a huge tussle for the race lead here. And that battle with the 3 for the lead could very well end up being the battle for P1 down to P7. Cass Haynen now takes the lead and says, no, I'm going to go for this P4 here. We'll have to see if that kind of gap closes up or kind of maybe extends here, because at the moment it looks like it's just extending and extending and extending. It has, because it's up to now 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Oltov, Den Ruygen and Van Wijngaarden currently sits at less than a second. Now Gene Howry under a bit of pressure there from Kirkman. Kirkman says, absolutely, I'm going to back out of this one, because there are more opportunities in the time remaining. So we'll have to see how this all comes to plan. And we now see Sander Hera, who is now going to be that's Olaf Oltov onto the back of this one. So he's also going to be looking to get some points for the Oltovs in this one. Now you're seeing Sander Hera, who's a little bit too far behind, so he might have to start fending for his 9th place there. He's had a little bit of an unlucky kind of run here, and there is our pole sitter Yuri Basayevin, who very much is just trying to lick his wounds. And now you're just seeing this battle here, Oliver with Luke van Wijngaarden now overtaking the championship leader of Keanu Den Rugen. How is he going to hold on to this one, trying to go around the outside of his fellow countryman? On the inside of turn number 3, very, very late on the brakes, and it looks like Keanu is going to find the way through. They're going to go door to door here, but Van Wijngaarden is going to have to give that up, and unfortunately for him, yeah, that's going to be staying in P3. That's going to build a bit of frustration here, a little bit of a flicker there. That's just down to internet connection, but that can be a little bit dangerous in iRacing, because netcode is a real thing, and the last thing we need is contact between two cars. So we'll have to see how they all go to pan. Approaching that final 4 minutes left of this session. Gene Howery sitting there in P6. So it's Oltov from Den Rugen, from Wijngaarden, and then Henlin is keeping himself well occupied in 4th place. What about Marco Kirkman? Could he try the outside line? He tried the inside line last time around. He'd now tried the outside line. That time it just didn't quite work the same. However, still plenty of opportunities. So don't kind of beat yourself up this early into the race. This is where it should start getting a little bit more pushy here, as Keanu van Rugen and Luc van Wijngaarden go into a bit of a tussle, because we're now about to approach the final minute here of this one, or well, the final 3 minutes to be official. But this is kind of where, in kind of Mazda MX5 terms, where it starts to really pick up. You need to be very more critical with your move. With Luc van Wijngaarden now just sitting, oh, there's going to be a car off. That's going to be Olaf Oltov, who's going to drop all the way down. Let's have a look at this one. That's going to be Marco Kirkman. It's Marco Kirkman who has gone off into the gravel. My apology on that one. The blue and silver car off the road, and that's going to be a massive disappointment for him. He's allowed Oliver Oltov with a wide open door to slither on through, and he will take P7, the Dutchman, in the number 12. But again, this is some fantastic racing, especially up in the lofty heights of the top 8 has been phenomenal. Luc van Wijngaarden, again, just couldn't find that opportunity last time around. He's just going to look for that opportunity once again. What about in towards, I believe it's turn 8 now, getting the car rotated. These MX5s are pretty light, they've got a little bit of lift, a little bit of lightness about them, enough to kind of push them on forward. In towards the right hander of turn number 9 again. I think Den Rugen has gone wide. He has gone wide, and that is going to be a move for second place there for Luc van Wijngaarden. That was the open door he was hoping for. We'll have a look. It was just a straight out break there for Keanu Den Rugen. And then, unfortunately for that number 10, he will not be picking up that second place. He might have to just deal with third place for the moment. But there's still some opportunities, so don't rest on your laurels too early. A minute and a half left of this one, and we see a big old tussle there. That's going to be Wouter Janssen in P11, just off the back of the top 10. Oh, that's a big old lunge and a big old defensive maneuver there. That was a huge tussle between these 3 cars of Wouter Janssen, Noah Cornelson, and I think that's going to be Edwin Steen as well. We'll have a look at Olaf Oltov, who's gone for a spin. Oh, massive disappointment there for Olaf Oltov. It's just one of those lazy spins where you just pick up too much throttle, and by the time you've realised it, you're halfway around in your continuous spin. But the action does not stop here with 40 seconds left to go of this race. Wouter Janssen will now just hold on to P number 10. And there is Olav Oltov, who had that spin, now finds himself all the way down into P12. It's a disaster. And Edwin Steen have been given the black flag. He's exceeded track limits one too many times here at Navarra. And that is going to be a huge disappointment when we enter this final lap. Edwin Steen still looking for those opportunities. He's still under pressure there from Olav Oltov, but I think he's going to be getting it nonetheless. So unless he wants to find an opportunity to take a top 10, Olaf is going to have to maybe just wiggle his way past Steen to kind of get that place. But I wonder if his tyres are absolutely wrecked after that to spin off the final corner. And that's going to be a huge disappointment. But we'll have a look at this one before moving on to our eventual race winner. But yeah, nothing in doing in that one. Walter Janssen just not quite there. But round the next couple of corners, you just see there Oliver Oltov, who has been absolutely fantastic. He's bided his time and he is being rewarded massively. Around the final corner, one straight to go. Do not drop it this time around. And what will be dropping is the checkered flag for Oliver Oltov. A fantastic win here in Navarra. And if you thought that was good, trust me, you're going to want to stay. We've got two more of those coming up. Luke van Wijngaarden will take P2 with the championship leader of Keanu Den Rugen, who will take P3, and that will be a podium trophy. But there's no time to rest on your laurels. You've got another race to get to, boys. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I wonder if we're going to have a bit of a shakedown to kind of just get those adrenaline kind of just pumping a little bit less there, because they're going to be very much high. Oh, Yuri Vazivren, unfortunately for him, that's going to be that's going to be a terrible way to end that one without a kind of a front bumper and without a bonnet as well. Oh, that's going to be a sorry sight. And even Dries van Huys, who's had a lot of issues here. There was a lot of promise for Van Huys, I think, in the practice session, but just hasn't come to plan. But he'll head over the line now. And unfortunately, we only lost two drivers. But yeah, I've got kind of the results there on my right hand side. Unless we go through an official classification now, then I do think that we will we'll be able to find our. We'll be able to give you a full rundown as and when we can. It looks like we're going to be going straight into the next round, and it's going to be Olav Oltov to line up in first with Wouter Janssen. So the top 10 being reversed. Sander Herrera is going to be in third with Marco Kirkman, and then we go to Gene Howdry, and then Liam Mulder there in P6. Then we find P7 where we go to Cass Hayden, and then we find what seems to be Keanu Den Rugen in P8 with Luke van Wijngaarden and Oliver Oltov in P10 with Noah Coronelsil and looks like Schutert in P12. So that's the first 6 rows of the grid. And it looks like we're going to be going back down to the grid. We see the fantastic sights here of the Navarra race circuit. But we'll just have to wait for a little bit of a cool down. So, yeah, no real time to relax here, I'd say, for the drivers. But there we go. All 5 lights are on. And we go racing for the second time here at Navarra. Great start there from Sander Herrera in the rusty Lightning McQueen livery. And we'll have to now see how turn number 1, 2, 3 goes. They head their way all fanning out. There's definitely a bit of a gap there between the top 16 there. And there's almost 3 wide. There is 3 wide going in towards turn number 3. How difficult is this going to be? There's contact between a couple of cars. The 12 has gone round. A bit of a hit there as well. That's going to be Olaf Oltov again. Huge disappointment for him. Jamie Tenola, unfortunately for him, he's hit the side of the car. Yeah, that's going to be massive disappointment. But Wouter Janssen now finds himself in the lead. But just be careful, because we're going to be having our fast guys approaching very soon. 15 minutes race this one. boy, oh, I think we've got more carnage in the background there because it's starting to kind of split away from the main pack. A lot of changing. You see the green and the red there on the left-hand side. That just indicates position changes. You just see they're happening all the time. But Wouter Jansen's just trying to get away, and he absolutely can't. And there goes Richard Martens. So the card sliding off in the background there. And this is Noah Cornelissen. And now we'll have to see up the inside. It's a very, very aggressive move. Does he manage to make it, or is he going to make contact? Oh, he spins himself. So it was Cornelissen who was the victim of his own wrongdoings there. Marco Kirkman has managed to find the lead, but I wonder if Liam Mulder's going to find a way in towards the lead this time around. But on that outside line, look at that. That's going to be Wouter Jansen, I think, just trying to look up the inside, the all orange car. Jansen trying that outside line on Liam Mulder. Mulder is going to hold his own, and round the outside goes Sander Herder, and he's going to just go on the exit, but he's going to be finding pressure here from Keanu van Rugen. So now heading down that long straight there. It's absolute slipstream galore, and it's kind of replicating what we see at Monza. Jörg Dent in his Mazda MX5, both kind of yellow car. Oh dear, oh my word, very close to going into the back of another car. I think that's Dries van Huys potential. That it might be Dries van Huys who almost just collided with. That would have been a huge slap to the side. There's a couple of incidents happening there. This is going to be Yuri Verstappen. Has he made contact? Was it his fault? Was it not? Oh dear, it's the 15 there. That's going to be massively unfortunate. That's Ferdinand Mulder, unfortunately. So things go from bad to worse to, well, what's worse than worse? Absolutely awful then. For what was initially third place in the championship. Now, Keanu van Rugen is going to find himself. Sorry, Yuri was second in the championship. We now go back to this hotly contested battle over P4, and a big lunge there from the Rusty's car and of Sander Herder, and I think he's going to be able to make this unless it looks like Wouter Jansen is going to hold ahead. But now you're just seeing Oliver Oltov, who managed to get himself into the battle. He's ahead of Van Rugen, he's ahead of Luke Weingarten as well. And oh, big spin there. That's going to be Liam Mulder. That's going to be Liam Mulder out of that corner. And we'll have to see that very quickly. It was just a drop out of that left-hander, and there's a little bit of contact there as well. That was Oltov, so he's going to be losing a little bit of momentum as well in all of that. And you just see kind of all the moves. Oh, he's been hit both times as well. And Oltov, the winner of race 1, now finds himself dropping like a stone. Don't tell me he gets hit. He doesn't get hit. I was so worried for a second that he was going to get absolutely slammed into. So that's going to be massively disappointing for Oliver Oltov. Oh, wow. Now, fast as that, they're going to Marco Kirkman. He's going to be extending the lead now to about just over 5.5 seconds there. Look at that. He's in no man's land. For MX5 Racing, this is absolutely no man's land for Marco Kirkman. That is going to be superb, I think, for him, unless Sander Herder and Wouter Jansen can work together. They're also going to be bringing Luke van Weingarten as well with them, as Olaf Oltov is going to be getting into a little bit of a scrap here with Jörg Dent and Ten Holt. You can look around the outside of Ten Holt. I think kind of just stopped on the apex. It seems like he's going to be defending his position very, very hard. Kicks across the grass and goes straight off wide there for Ten Holt. He also gets passed there by Yuri as well in that number 18 car. But yeah, some very, very scrappy racing. But you know, that is just classic Masters. Looking now to Edwin Steen and Jamie Turcola, very hotly contested battles in this one. They're all hotly contested battles, but yeah, overall, you're just trying to look at the kind of the top ones, the most important ones for the moment. But with MX5 Racing, there's just action absolutely everywhere. Dries van Huys just trying to make his way through. Let's see if he's made a bit of contact. He has, and unfortunately, it's a self spin for the number 7. He's going to have to spin that back round. good enough for him. That livery very much looks is very much inspired by the Falcon Motorsports team. You know, the ones that use the Porsche in the Nürburgring, the Langstrecke and the Nürburgring 24 Hours series. So yeah, really intrigued to see how that kind of all goes. Another replay here. Olaf Altov getting turned once again. I'm sure he's going to be admiring all the views of Navarra by the end of this one. Sorry, Olaf, that wasn't maybe a little bit too harsh. Is he going to go into the pits then? Yes, it looks like he is going to rest up for the day or for the race on this one. As Olaf Altov, in fact, my apologies, he's gone from bad to worse for him. So another driver who's kind of tonight is just not gone to plan whatsoever, because he has now had a black flag, meaning disqualification or drive-through penalty. And now this is your dent is now going to be coming into turn 3, unsettles the car through 2 pretty much, and then just rotates the rear round. He's going to get hit. Oh, he does. Oh, he gets a second hit up the back. That does your dent. This race has been absolute chaos. I haven't actually managed to catch a breath. They always say you need to catch a breath, but this race just doesn't allow you to do so. So I might have to take a bit of a minute between races to just kind of grab a breather after, because it's just been so manic. And we're not even halfway. I think we just reached halfway into this race here. More contact happening. That's going to be Keanu Van Ruchen, and this is going to be a big opportunity here for Luke to potentially go and take a championship here. Whoa, that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. So Luke Van Wijngaarden now has to try and get past Sander Herder, and if he can get 2 second places in a row, he will put himself into fine contention for a big chance at a championship here. Remember, these two came into the championship 20 points separating each other. We now seem to get replays here. This is Liam Mulder on the inside of that final corner, going uphill, loses the rear. Whoop, up, up. Very lucky boy, Liam Mulder. You're a very, very lucky boy. There is no car bits flying off, and I'm sure if there are any car bits flying off, I'm sure the fans in the paddock at Navarra would love to take a bit home. I know I sure would. Trust me, I've done it before. Luke Van Wijngaarden sitting there in 3rd place, but he's looking to go for a second here. Second place of this weekend. Jamie Tola, we look back here. So some really positive stuff from a lot of the drivers. For some, it's just not been their night, like Oliver Altov, looks like Chris Stutert, as well as I'd say Yuri Vasifin as well. So I also want to say sorry, Yuri. I keep butchering your name like multiple times. So if you want to just send me a message afterwards, let me forget what I'm saying there, because Richard Martins is deciding to have a bit of a ding-dong battle with another car, and that's going to be him sent off into the barrier. Richard Martins will now get transported back to the pit. But yeah, sorry, Yuri. I keep butchering your name. So if you want to send me a message afterwards, just kind of confirming your second name, maybe you'll be more inviting to allow me back onto more NXTGP broadcasts. But back with Luke Van Wijngaarden down in towards the long pit straight here. Gene Howery looks to be in the pit lane now. He has been given a black flag. He'll have to go and do a drive-through penalty. So that would be really unfortunate. Meanwhile, fastest lap gets set there by Luke Van Wijngaarden. He's going to try and find an opportunity in towards 3, but not quite there, as out the pit lane there comes Gene Howery. That was a very, very disappointed man, I'm sure, behind the wheel of his sim rig. Van Wijngaarden will need to maybe make a move very, very soon, unless he is just saving for a trick up his sleeve. I'll give you the readings for that fastest lap as well. So Luke Van Wijngaarden went and did a 1. 57.0 last time around, and now he's going up the inside there of Sanderherder, and that's a brilliant move there on the Rusty's livery. He's up into second. Can he go and chase down the leader? I think he's a little bit short of time here. Time is being chomped away 4 minutes ago. And Wouter Janssen now is going to be feeling pressure. He now darts his way back to the racing line, swings it on the outside line, but inside there for Cass Hayem. And he now finds himself putting himself into that 4th place. But no, Wouter Janssen is still there, putting his car on that outside line. But Heinen is just going to hang it on that outside line. They don't want to make contact, so it looks like they're just going to sit in between underneath here. Oliver Oltov, in fact, who remember, he had that massive hit at that point a couple of moments ago. He now finds himself up into P6 now. So Wouter Janssen is going to just be fending from not just Heinen, but he's also going to have to be fending from Oltov here. Oltov, as I said, very, very experienced in his Mazda MX5 Cup racing, heading all the way down the main straight here. Just have to see if he can potentially make a move very, very soon, because there is a big 4th place up for grabs here, and if he can find a way through now, I think there's going to be a big opportunity to grab that 4th place just before he gets the checkered flag onto 2 wheels there for Wouter Janssen. He's going to have to back off a little bit there, otherwise he's going straight into the door of Cass Heinen. And Oltov is just looking at this like a great white shark ready to pounce. Looking back here, Keanu van Rugen now seemingly to be under a little bit of pressure. But speaking more pressure, that's going to be a contact there between 4th and 5th place there. Oh, Oltov's been involved as well. He's been spun around, and that is going to see, that's Janssen. Also, that's going to be massively unfortunate. Is there anyone to really blame in this one? I don't really like pointing fingers, but it's just, I think it's just tough racing. It's really just tough racing. You get a lot of that in the Mazda kind of racing scene, and unfortunately for him, it's just not what you want. Oliver Oltov tries to make his way through the field not just once but twice now, and after everything he's been through, it doesn't look like he's going to be making any advancement. But one man who's kind of advanced and made advantage out of all of this, Arno van Rugen, sorry, my apologies. Up into 5th place there. So absolutely going to be working his absolute socks off to try and maybe make something happen here. But we have look back with Luke van Wijngaarden, and he's now just under a bit of pressure here from Sanderherder. He needs that 2nd place to close in on the championship. But points are going to be pretty crucial at this stage. Unfortunately, I didn't have a bit of time beforehand to calculate what was going on. I've just been given a spreadsheet, and now I have to calculate it all by myself. In towards the left-hander here, it looks like Van Wijngaarden is going to go a little bit. He's going to be on that inside line. Van der Heerde just too excited on that throttle pedal. Just got the car way too light over that curb, sent himself way wide, and he's going to be really putting on the pressure here. And this is going to be the final lap of this race. Marco Kirkman has seen absolutely nothing but just straight up racetrack here. No other cars around him, no pressure. He's just got to take this home. But this is the main battle we're looking at here. Sanderherder is now going to just try and find a way around that right-hander of turn number 8. Down the main straight here. This is where Luke van Wijngaarden is going to have to now start getting very, very defensive as he heads his way on towards turn number 9. Big lunge here by Sanderherder. He says no in the end of it. Last thing he wants to do is just take a car with him and get a penalty after all of that. I think there, in terms of points, I think there will be penalties. A to be given out and B to be investigated, and potentially see changing the face of these results and the championship. But somebody who has had it all clean today here is Marco Kirkman. He has had absolutely zero worries since the 5 red lights went out here at Navarra for race 2. Oliver Altov, your race one winner. It's a bit of a race to forget here, but for Marco Kirkman, it'll be a race to remember. It is race to win for Marco Kirkman. A fantastic win for the Dutchman. It'll be Luc van Wijngaarden to hold on to second place ahead of Sander Herrera. And wow, what a fantastic result. It will be Cas Heinen who comes home in fourth, with Noah Cornelsen who will be home in fifth. And then it will be Keino Den Rugen in P6, with Wouter Janssen home in seventh. Then Steen Van Huys and Altov rounds out the top 10. Yuri Versailles now in P11 with Jean Harry and Ferdinand Mulder, Jamie Van Nola, and then Liam Mulder crossing the line there. Unfortunately, we missed out a few of our drivers as well. Your Dent having a collision as well as Richard Martin. So I think those two just got a little bit too heated on track there. Olaf Altov had a disqualification, so he decided to park it in the pits, and Chris Schutert, I don't think, ever got going in the end of all of that. So race 2 is now done and dusted. We've just now got to wait for the final race here at Navarra. It just treated us to some fantastic racing, and if I ever see this in a calendar, just know I'm going to be a very happy boy, because this place is just absolutely magical. Some superb racing around the Spanish countryside. A lot of hilly areas, and well done for the track designers who have managed to make this a race circuit as well. So a lot of credit to kind of everyone here. We're now going to what would basically be a 5-minute warm-up. We'll have to see, and I'm going to leave you with the action, and yeah, because I need a little bit of a break with the boys. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. And we're back here at Navarra for the final race of course, Mazda MX5 Winter Series, hosted by NXTGP. Round 6 at Navarra is about to get underway. There is the grid. You can see for yourself, but the main thing will be the action down on the racing circuit. We've had a few shenanigans happen during that warm-up session. 5 minutes does something to a racing driver out there on the circuit, but we'll go to 5 red lights above the drivers here at the Circuito de Navarra. For the final time, we go racing here at Navarra, and a good start there by Oliver Oltov, going to straight away to cut on Dries van Huys off the 5 red lights, and now on towards the opening first couple of corners here. They start off now. Banner looking at the outside, looking at the inside. Oltov just tries to go defensive here. It'll be hard on the brakes here, but look at that. Dries van Huys having to really back off there. Just looks like a drive-through there for Wout Jansen already in the early stages. There you can see the massive black flag at the side of the name, and that will be really disappointing for him. That's going to be Dries van Huys. Oh, there's a car off, multiple cars going off. That's a massive accident. I wish I could call a safety car, but unfortunately not. That's going to be multiple cars out. Luc van Wijngaarden getting involved in there, so what could have been a championship winning day for the Dutchman turned into absolute disarray. Sander Herder going slamming into the Armco barrier on the left-hand side. Multiple cars involved in Wout Jansen there as well. And Luc van Wijngaarden, 2 of the blue cars off the back there as well. It looks like De Dreet has also been slamming himself into some Armco barrier, and that's going to be a massive hit. And now Luc van Wijngaarden, did he kind of spin it, or is he kind of showing off the damage here? I think, yeah, he's just kind of spinning it off the road and parking it there. Oh dear. That's an awful start. Awful start for some. Very good for others. Also, and Van Huys managing to get away. And what about Edwin Steen, who might have a say in all of this? Still with a 15-minute race about to go upon us here. We now see around that last corner how will Oltov do, because he's looking at win number 2 here at Navarra, and potentially claim Navarra is now his favourite circuit after winning here potentially twice. But let's not put in the commentator's curse too early and say that he's still got a job to do. Chris Schutert now goes around in his number 22. That's an NX5. Careful, boys. My word, I think that was Jamie Tokola who almost went into the back there of the number 22. And now we're looking at the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th here. This is going to be Van Huys, who is having an absolutely superb race so far. He's got Edwin Steen just there in P3, but for Keanu van Den Rugen, he's now going to have to just try and keep himself on the road. But the move there by Edwin Steen, I think De Rugen is now going to keep himself in a little bit of room here. He's going to find himself on that outside line, just trying to put himself in a position where he'll be able to take the move here. But again, Van Huys is going very, very defensive. He's going to switch that inside line. That's going to be multiple movement in on the straight. I don't think you can do that, Dries. So he's going to have to now probably be very, very careful about what he does here, because that was multiple moves down that straight, and that's very much frowned upon in motorsport. But Keanu van Rugen is going to say, yeah, I don't care what you do on track, I'm just going to get through here, because you might be a bit of a menace to society on that part. And Noah Cornelsen is now just having a look here as well. He's managed to find his way through there on Dries Van Huys. So I think, Van Huys is having just a bit of struggle with his car. It seems he's just not quite got to it. He's not quite maybe nailed some with the setup, or maybe just the car is just not quite there. He may not just have the speed. There's multiple kind of reasons why he might not be that fast, but he's now got Cas Hainen, who's had a fantastic weekend with him, as Edwin Steen goes and sets the fastest lap of the race with and that's now giving mark down to Marco Hertmann with a 57.095. So really, really good stuff there. Dries Van Huys still there now, right behind Noah Cornelissen. Now these two are going to be battling over 4th and 5th. I think Van Huys is going to be a pretty frustrated man here with the way this race has gone. And we now see an overtake there. Marco Kirkman going up to up from P8 to P7. We'll have to see how this all kind of works out here. We now watch Kirkman. I think that was just straight up on the inside move. Good stuff there from the number 20, the Dutchman, who really works away at the steering wheel here of his Mazda MX5, but it's not done yet. Yuri Vasivin also having a bit of also getting the section here. Dries Van Huys just staying ahead there of Noah Cornelissen. He needs to just hold position now, but I just wonder if he's made a little bit of a wrong move there. He's made himself go a little bit too deep there on the edge of the exit of the corner, side by side through a very dangerous part of the circuit, through the penultimate corner. They're still going side by side. They're batting away. Somebody spun in the background, and now looking on that outside line, Cornelius still just doesn't have an answer, and that's going to be Gene Howery, unfortunately for him, but we'll have to see how that all goes about. Meanwhile, Oliver Oltov is looking not very sturdy at the moment, 0.6 of a second to Edwin Steen. Steen does want to make it 3 different winners in the 3 races here at Navarra, but Oltov is just going to try and say something about that one here. Big lap time there, a 56.7 for Edwin Steen, but does he decide to make the move down into Ward 3? No, he does not. So Steen will just have to hold ground here with that number 236 just sitting in front of him like a prey, and he is the hawk who's about to hunt the prey. But we now see in toward the next left-hander. You see there in the background Keanu Den Rugen, who very much is just still looking around, see if he can potentially just work out what these guys are doing. He'll slowly crawl up to the back of this fight, but this is a big old tussle. 5 cars involved, and that's being led, I believe, by Cas Hainen. And that's going all the way down to, I believe, that's going to be, I think that might be down to Yuri Vasivin. We'll have to see how this all kind of works out. 4 cars. I think that's Vasivin now making it 3 wide into the left-hander. Oh, there's contact. Somebody go round. Noah Cornelissen. That's going to be Noah Cornelissen. That's going to be hugely unfortunate there for the number 9 car. And he's going to have to now try and pick himself back up. And that's, trust me, a very, very difficult thing to do, especially in a short race. And, I say short race, but we're even shorter. We've got 7 minutes left of the session. We've already had 7 minutes left of this one. And down the inside there goes Edwin Steen. A superb move there. And he's going to be dragged by Oliver Oltov, saying, absolutely no, you don't. It's going to be a drag race down towards turn number 1. But, I think Oltov has been more defensive than attacking in towards his opening corners recently. And we'll have to see if he decides to pop out. There he is from the outside here, completely flat through turn number 1, but will break for turn number 2. Will he find the gap in towards turn 3? No, he doesn't. He sits in behind. Edwin Steen looking to go 3 for 3 different winners in 3 different races. So, that is a big move being made there, and that came with a lot of contact, I'd say. You get a lot of bumper to bumper in Mazda racing, but that's kind of the extent you go to when you go to kind of races like this. I was very fortunate to cover the Miata Mania at Alton Park in July last year, and this is exactly the racing you get. Altov now gets back through this contact, and again Olivia Altov gets involved in an incident that's going to be hugely unfortunate. I just wonder, I'm going to have to put that one on Steam. When you're off the track, you have to rejoin safely, and that was not rejoining safely in any mannerisms whatsoever. But you can argue that, well, Oliver Altov did not give him any room whatsoever. But again, you just tuck him. You have to really just tuck him behind. And now look who's leading. It's Den Rugen. And we look behind in this battle of Dries van Huys, who's leading this battle for second with Yuri Versailles. And then we have Cass Heinen and Marco Kirkman, who might be able to have a say in all of this. Down in towards the last corner, big lock up there from Versailles. And he's having a big old look here. Now he's handed a bit of time over and drag race all the way down. Cass Heinen is side by side with Versailles. We'll have to see how this all comes to kind of blows. Hopefully no contact involved in this one. Marco Kirkman now wants to have a look at the inside line. He's very much looking at a direction of where he can go, but it looks like all routes lead to nowhere but contacted. Dismal failure, that being the end of the road for him, but he's managing to back out of this one. Wide moment there from Verheyen. He's going to have to just hold it on that outside line. Looks like Yuri is going to be just invited back into the battle. Looks like always a bit of contact there, and there goes Kirkman, there goes Yuri, and that's going to be both very, very unfortunately to the front runners finding themselves colliding. Oh, this could get even messier with cars approaching what will be the end of the wreckage of that one. Debris being laid all about all over the place. I'm sure if you walk the circuit afterwards, you might find just little bits of Mazda just scattered all over the place, and that's gonna be a big one in towards the Arco barrier. Oh my goodness me! And that's Oliver Altov wheel off as well for the number 236. You just see that getting tagged round, big smack of that Arco barrier, and that's going to be Altov out of that one. Terminal damage for the Dutchman. Well, that's not going to be ideal whatsoever. And look at this, we're now seeing Jamie Tertola now involved in this one. He managed to wiggle his way up into fourth place, despite showing kind of struggles throughout this race, these kind of sessions tonight. He's had an absolute thriller of a round here, especially this final one. He's backing away with Marco Kirkman. Can Kirkman maybe find a way through? He's searching on that inside line, and he'll find a way through and up in towards P number 4 there for Kirkman. What a fantastic move that is for him. So Kirkman will now have to start driving away and up the road. We'll have to see if he can potentially just make his way and extend a gap here. Could he potentially maybe go for a podium? But with the time I think remaining, this has gone so quick, unbelievably quick. 2 minutes left in this session as he now hops and skips and jumps over the grass there. Does Jamie Tertola. He might have to just stick in fifth here, because Marco Kirkman seems like he's a man on a mission. Bearing in mind, this is a driver who won the second race, who's started right down. Now just needs to try and potentially just find a way to solidify this place. You got the likes of Dries van Huys there up in second. You got Cass Heinen in third. Their gap currently sits at a massive margin. So we'll have to see if that can potentially get changed around. Yeah, it looks like Titan Huiz at 3 or about 3 seconds there. Cass Hanen at 8. Black flag there for Chris Schutert all the way down in 15th, and that's Noah Cornelissen, the number 9 car, who's been hit round. Yeah, that kind of sums up this race for a lot of drivers. Just a lot of contact, a lot of kind of bumper car race. They're interlocked as well. They're interlocked, and this is Edwin Steen, who has collided into Cornelissen. So yeah, really not ideal stuff. And someone's had a big crash in the back there. That was Edwin Steen again. We'll have to see what happened here. Did he get hit there? This is again Cornelissen. They make side-to-side contact, and it just drives into the side, and well, eventually just does more damage to himself than who was meant to be hitting into, which was Cornelissen. But that's what happens when two drivers kind of blow over each other, and that is not kind of the way we want to go racing. We don't want to be going racing in that spirit. That's just two hot-headed racers, in all honesty, and arguably even one, depending on the attitude of each way each car was moving. I think each of them will be definitely blaming each other. But in towards the now right-hander of the next sequence corner, we now reach the checkered flag. So we see this kind of battle of 4. That being Cornelissen, Mulder, Liam Mulder, Ferdinand Mulder, and Howry. But now that's kind of all going to be fizzling out. So we now have to look back to the front of the field, because we now have Kian Den Rufer, who comes round the one of the penultimate corners here. It has been a tough race tonight for Keino Den Ruchen, but he has now managed to succeed after everything that has been thrown at him. He comes round the final corner, and after what could have been an absolute horror show, he now comes home to win the Indy NXT. No, not the Indy NXT. He wins the NXTGP Mazda MX5 Winter Cup. A fantastic victory for Den Ruchen. And what a well-earned victory, staying out of trouble where everyone fell off the side of the road. He claims our victory. Dries van Huys comes home in second. Cass Hanen home in third, and that is just some superb racing. It was close, it was aggressive, it was smart. There's so many superlatives I think we can find for this one, but yeah, some maybe not racing in the spirit of the rules either, but you know, welcome to our racing. We now complete our grid. There is the final result. Keino Den Ruchen is your winner, ahead of Teresa and Huis, and then Cass Hanen and Marco Kirkman, with Yuri Versafren, and then Jamie Tekola, Gene Howery, and then we find Liam Mulder, Noah Cornelissen, and then we find in P10 there, 10 Holt. Lost a couple of cars there as well. Still, we lost Steen, Oltov, Janssen, Schutert. We lost also Van Weingarten, Oltov, and Herre. So a lot of disappointing drivers we lost in this race, but yeah, a lot of celebration to be found as well. I think we usually do a couple of interviews, so I don't know if anyone is waiting for me in the interview room, but no, it doesn't look like if anyone is doing that. But there you can see the donuts being done down on the racetrack. A lot of celebratory actions there, and I think well deserved for a lot of drivers down here in Navarra, and a big kind of applaud to everyone back at NXTGP iRacing, who have been absolutely fantastic in their organisation, in their stewarding as well. It's been absolutely brilliant to see in all their organisation. We couldn't have done it without you. Well, that's going to be it for me. We'll see whatever is next up on the NXTGP. You can follow us on all our social medias at NXTGP. You'll see that I believe we currently have the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland going on. So be prepared to subscribe to us on YouTube at NXTGP iRacing and follow the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland series there. Make sure to give us a follow on all the socials. But from myself, Adam Reed, and everyone at NXTGP, thank you. Take care. Good night.